It's been a while, but I'm finally back, although to be honest, this wasn't the video I've been planning to make on my return. I'm sure most of you will have heard the news by now, but for those who haven't, the Overwatch League announced a couple of days ago that they were cancelling their scheduled homestand events in March and April. This is due to the coronavirus pandemic that's affecting everyone at the moment, and given the cancellations of other sporting events around the world, from European football leagues to the NBA, this decision comes as no real surprise at all, given the risk of the virus spreading amongst everyone attending the homestand events, and from my perspective, it's definitely the right thing to do, even if it sucks as a fan to see. We should all recognise that this isn't just another seasonal flu, it is something more serious. That said, it isn't a time to be panicking. Instead, we should all be following our respective national health guidelines and continuing to do simple things such as washing our hands regularly to ensure our health and safety over the coming months. Now I want to look at what the league has specifically been saying over the past couple of days, and I'll be leaving links below to these announcements down in the description. But in regards to the initial Overwatch League website announcement and tweet, it reads as follows. The health and safety of employees, fans, players, teams and partners is paramount to Activision Blizzard Esports. We're continuing to closely monitor COVID-19, coronavirus, city-level recommendations and mandates, and all guidelines set forth by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. After careful review and working in close collaboration with our teams, we are cancelling all Overwatch League events scheduled for March and April. For more details on these specific events, please visit host team websites and follow their social channels. Concurrently, we are working hand in hand with our teams to see that all matches are played when it's safe and logistically feasible, staying as close to our originally planned schedule as possible. We're considering the various options available to esports in this effort, so that all teams, including those previously impacted by the scheduling changes in China, can get back to doing what they do best. No adjustments have been made for any other scheduled Overwatch League events. We will share additional updates as needed. This was a great first step for the league to take, and I was happy to see them take action so quickly. It is important to be aware though, that whilst the homestands themselves have been cancelled for the next 2 months, as I just narrated, this is not to say that the matches themselves are not going to be played over this period. Shortly following this announcement on Twitter, the Overwatch League Commissioner Pete Vlaselika tweeted to clarify that the teams would still be playing matches in March and April. This first announcement was to say that the league had cancelled the events, not the matches themselves, and he added that these matches would still be broadcast. Just a few hours ago we received a follow-up update from the league itself, which officially set out the next steps they were taking, and clarified some other decisions they've now made as well. Earlier this week we cancelled Overwatch League homestand events for March and April, and today we're announcing that those matches will be played live in an online format. Online play allows us to prioritise the health and safety of our entire community, while still continuing to bring fans high quality entertainment and competition. We expect matches to resume online beginning March 21st. We're currently working on a revamped match schedule, which will allow teams around the world to begin competing in March, while minimising latency concerns. We will structure the March and April matches with the teams competing within 3 groups based on regional geography. A revised match schedule will be shared next week. All matches will be broadcast live on YouTube and available on demand. We plan to return to team-hosted homestand competitions in front of live audiences as soon as it's safe and logistically possible. Because many of our teams and players haven't played yet, we will be moving All-Star Weekend to after the 2020 season, and they're cancelling the mid-season tournament. Further All-Stars details will be announced in the future. The key things to take away from this recent announcement are that there will be no matches this weekend. Instead, from Saturday, March 21st, the Overwatch League is aiming to resume its matches on a revamped schedule, with these matches being played online. Next week, we will learn about this revised match schedule for the upcoming weeks, with all the matches being broadcast as normal on YouTube. And lastly, that because some of the teams haven't played yet, this is specifically referring to those within the Pacific East, the All-Star Weekend has been moved to after the 2020 season, whilst the mid-season tournament has been cancelled. Given the constantly changing variables day by day, I think that this decision by the Overwatch League for the matches to be played online is an excellent one, to not only see the league continue to move forward, but more importantly, in a manner that protects everyone involved. And the speed in which the league has taken these actions, despite all the chaos, is something that I do think should be commended. Whilst the coronavirus couldn't have come at a worse time really, with the season looking to evolve with the new global homestand model, one aspect of esports that we can be thankful for is that unlike most other sports, the ability to transfer matches online allows us to continue seeing play, rather than having extended periods of suspension that we're seeing constricting most other sports at the moment. Now of course playing online does bring its own other challenges, such as ensuring that latency isn't giving one team an advantage over another. But this is where the Overwatch League is hoping to structure its matches around regional geography, most likely with the East Coast teams playing each other over this period, with the West Coast teams and those in Asia doing the same. And hopefully, given the emphasis the league is placing on this aspect, this is something that can be successfully arranged so we can see everyone playing on a level playing field. Overall though, as I've already said, this clarity and communication from the league itself is great to see. Over this next week, in the lead up to the return of matches, there are still some questions that need answering, aside from this schedule, such as how hero pools are going to work in this environment. We also need to consider how this online approach will be affected, if as I personally predict, the coronavirus problems continue past April and into the summer. Eventually teams in Asia and on the East Coast will probably have to play one another, so there's still things to plan for. But for now, these are fantastic first steps, and when I hear more news and updates on this, I'll be sure to let you all know. As the last paragraph explains though, we will be seeing the All-Star event move to after the 2020 season, whilst the mid-season tournament has been cancelled completely. Again, this is a totally reasonable step to take. Not only does it free up more time for the league to return to a regular schedule over the next few weeks, but it also makes sense given that most of the matches we've seen up to now have been from the Atlantic teams. You can't exactly have an All-Stars event and mid-season tournament being primarily made up of players from the Atlantic teams, who have seen nearly all the play up to this point, with the Pacific teams and players seeing little and even no stage time at all. For these sorts of events as well, I think they are better suited to having a live crowd in attendance, as they are special events unlike just extra season matches, so I don't see any harm in postponing All-Stars to beyond this season and cancelling the mid-season tournament entirely. The league does say near the end of this announcement that it still does plan to return to the live homestand events eventually, once it's safe and logistically possible, but if I had to guess personally, I don't see this being anytime soon, with the outbreak getting worse in both Europe and the US at the moment. However, I am excited to see competition continuing, as I'm sure many of you are, even if there won't be the same atmosphere as before. Especially with the Pacific East teams finally getting a chance to show off their skills, which should provide us with some great new action and entertainment over the next couple of months. That's all the information we have right now, and again, be sure to check out the links in the description if you wish to read what the league has said yourself. Now though, I want to take a minute to just say a few words about the channel moving forward and the past month or so. Obviously, it should be clear that I haven't been posting lately, and I want to be transparent and explain that this has been down to a few medical and personal problems that I've been prioritising in recent weeks. This isn't to say that I haven't been keeping up with the league, having watched or caught up with all the games that have been played up to now, but for those that have been missing out on my content, I do apologise for not being a little more public and clear about it all. That said, these issues do appear for now to have subsided, and I can happily say that I'm aiming to return to a more regular schedule of content. Of course, with the uncertainty surrounding everything at the moment, I'm not exactly sure what stuff I'll be making, but regardless, you should now expect to see a lot more of me over the coming weeks. For now though, that's all I've got to say on the recent announcements from the Overwatch League and the channel itself, and if you have reached the end of the video, then I'd really like to thank you for watching. In this time of uncertainty, please be sure to stay calm, stay safe and stay healthy, and until next time I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.